It was a quiet morning in Strongsville, Ohio. The sky hadn't even begun to brighten, and most of the town was still asleep. But at 5:30 a.m. on July 31st, 2022, that calm was shattered. A deafening crash echoed through an empty stretch of road.
The squad down. This is not a fresh accident either. She's been here for a while. Radio, we got at least 2 occupants in here. No one's moving. Oh my God. Times 3, guys. Radio, 3 occupants.
By the time anyone arrived, the scene looked like a nightmare frozen in time. Twisted metal, shattered glass, and silence where there should have been life. Inside that mangled Toyota Camry were 3 people. 2 were already gone. 1 was still alive. That survivor was Mackenzie Shirilla, just 19 years old. The 2 who never made it out were Dominic Russo, her boyfriend, and Davion Flanagan, her friend. At first, it looked like another terrible accident. A reckless teen driving too fast, a tragic mistake. But as investigators studied the evidence, a darker truth surfaced. This wasn't an accident. This was intentional, a deliberate choice, made in seconds, fueled by months of emotion. A decision that turned love into murder. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, and today you are watching the case of Dominic Russo. Dominic Russo was 20, a normal young man with simple dreams: work hard, stay close to family, enjoy life with his friends. He lived with his mother in Strongsville, known for his calm nature and loyalty. He had a best friend named Davion Flanagan, 19 years old, cheerful, always ready to help anyone. Davion had a contagious energy, the kind that made people feel lighter just by being around him. And then there was Mackenzie Shirilla, 19 years old, impulsive, and obsessed with control. Her friends said she could be sweet when things went her way, but when they didn't, everything turned dark fast. Arguments weren't just words, they were ultimatums. When she met Dominic, she was only 15. What started as teenage affection quickly turned into an all-consuming relationship. For years, they were inseparable. They texted constantly, spent hours together, fought, made up, and repeated the cycle. But as they got older, that intensity began to change. Friends began to notice the tension. Arguments became more frequent. Mackenzie's moods shifted quickly, one moment affectionate, the next controlling or jealous. Dominic, quiet and patient, tried to calm her, to keep the peace. People close to them would later say that Dominic cared deeply for her, but that love started to come with fear. Fear of her reactions, fear of another fight. The relationship became a storm he couldn't get out of. And yet, he stayed. Because that's what love does to people. It blinds them to danger. By the summer of 2022, everything was unraveling. There were loud arguments that sometimes ended with threats. Mackenzie's emotions grew unstable. She'd say she couldn't live without him, that she'd crash the car, that he'd regret leaving. Dominic's friends noticed he was changing. He seemed more withdrawn. There were days he'd stay quiet, avoiding talking about his relationship altogether. Then came the breaking point. In mid-July 2022, Dominic called his mother, upset. He said Mackenzie was threatening to wreck the car they were in, that she was screaming, angry, and he didn't know what to do. His mother sent a friend to pick him up. Dominic came home that night shaken but still defensive, like he wanted to believe it was just another fight, not a sign of danger. A week later, videos appeared on social media. Mackenzie yelling at him, pushing him, calling him names.
Keep my car. I'm gonna keep your car. Did you not let me in the house? You're gonna keep my car. Did you not let me in the house? Yes. If you do not open, you think I'm joking. You think I'm joking. Like I said ass.
What do you mean?
You know exactly what I mean. You don't even know exactly what I mean. You're gonna come open this door right now, or there's gonna be a serious problem.
It wasn't love anymore. It was control disguised as passion. The people who cared about Dominic were scared, but like so many families who watch toxic relationships from the outside, they felt helpless. Because when you're in it, it doesn't look like abuse. It looks like emotion. It feels like love. And that's how Dominic saw it. He didn't realize he was standing on the edge of something irreversible. July 31st started quietly. It was early, before sunrise. Mackenzie and Dominic were together again, despite everything that had happened. Davion, their friend, joined them that morning, maybe just to hang out, maybe to keep things calm. Around 5:30 a.m., Mackenzie got behind the wheel of her 2018 Toyota Camry. Dominic sat beside her in the front seat. Davion took the back. The roads were empty, the town still asleep. They drove down Progress Drive, a short industrial road with no exit. At the end of it stood a brick wall, of the kind you'd see behind a warehouse, solid and unmovable. CCTV footage later showed the car moving steadily down that road. No swerving, no signs of panic. Then, in the final moments, the car accelerated sharply, from 60 to 80, then to 100 miles per hour. The black box inside the vehicle revealed something chilling. For 7 full seconds, Mackenzie's foot stayed on the accelerator. No brakes, no hesitation. 7 seconds of knowing what was coming, and not stopping. The car slammed directly into the wall. The impact was catastrophic. Metal twisted like paper, the engine crushed, glass scattered across the asphalt. When police and medics arrived, the sight was devastating. Dominic and Davion were lifeless. Mackenzie was still breathing, barely conscious, trapped in the driver's seat. At first, everyone assumed it was a tragic accident. Maybe she fell asleep, maybe she lost control. But what investigators found later told a completely different story. Detectives began their work immediately. They pulled data from the car's black box, speed, acceleration, braking. What they found confirmed their worst fears. Mackenzie had never touched the brake, not once. Her foot stayed on the gas until impact. Then came the surveillance footage, the same camera that caught the car moments before the crash. It showed Mackenzie driving down that road with precision. She didn't lose control. She never even tried to stop. And investigators later found something even more unsettling. Phone and GPS data suggested Mackenzie had been in that same area a few days before the crash. It raised a haunting question. Was she just passing through, or was she already planning what would happen there? They also uncovered messages and posts from the hours before the crash. At 3 a.m., just 2 hours before impact, Mackenzie posted a Snapchat story. "I'm not even going to be here tomorrow." That post would later become one of the most haunting pieces of evidence. Proof of premeditation, not recklessness. Her phone was filled with texts that read like a slow descent into obsession. Jealousy, rage, desperation. Friends told police she had said things like, "If he leaves me, I'll take us both out." It wasn't just a crash, it was a final act, one that had been building for months. When the case reached prosecutors, they charged her not with vehicular homicide, but with murder. Because this wasn't recklessness. This was intent. Even the route she took proved that. Progress Drive, a road with no escape, ending in a solid wall. She didn't end up there by mistake, she chose it. And she drove straight into it. The trial began in 2023. It wasn't a jury trial, just a judge, evidence, and silence, heavy enough to feel like the air itself was watching. The prosecution laid out their case clearly. The car data, the video, the Snapchat, the texts, all proof that Mackenzie Shirilla made a conscious choice to end her life and the lives of 2 others. Dominic and Davion had no idea what was coming. They didn't even have time to react. The defense argued it was an accident, that she lost control or panicked, but the evidence said otherwise. Her speed was constant. Her foot never lifted. And her route, a dead-end road, wasn't chosen by chance. When the verdict was read on August 14, 2023, the courtroom was silent. The judge spoke clearly. This was not reckless driving. This was murder.
Her actions were controlled, methodical, deliberate, intentional, and purposeful. This was not reckless driving. This was murder.
Mackenzie Shirilla was found guilty on 12 felony counts, including 4 counts of murder and multiple counts of assault. She was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 15 years. As the sentence was read, Dominic's mother stood and said, "You'll still get to live your life, even if it's in prison. My son doesn't." Her words echoed through the courtroom, a truth that hung heavier than any verdict. Even now, years later, Strongsville hasn't forgotten that crash. people still drive past that stretch of road, slow down, and think about what happened there. Because this story isn't just about a crime, it's about human emotion, the kind that blinds judgment and turns affection into obsession. Dominic Russo was a young man who believed in forgiveness. He stayed because he thought patience could fix what was broken. He believed love was worth the pain. But love doesn't mean staying where you're being hurt. It doesn't mean tolerating fear or manipulation. And it never means dying to prove the loyalty. Davion Flanagan didn't even belong in that tragedy. He was there as a friend, maybe hoping to make things calm, maybe just giving them company. His death was senseless, an innocent life lost to someone else's collapse. For Mackenzie, there's no going back. One moment of rage destroyed 3 young lives, her own, Dominic's, and Davion's. This wasn't just a crash. It was the result of every ignored warning, every red flag brushed aside, every hope that things would get better. Today, the wall has been rebuilt. The flowers once left behind have faded. But for 2 families, that stretch of road will never be ordinary again. It's where 2 lives ended, and where another began to carry the weight of her choices. This was the case of Dominic Russo and Davion Flanagan. You are watching The Decode. We'll meet again in another story. Till then, subscribe.